Application of nonlinear function in business part 2. Okay, now we go to other part, which is number 2, cost function. In addition to the understanding of fixed cost, variable cost, and total cost, as I have mentioned previous weeks ago, the concept of cost also includes the understanding of average cost and marginal cost. Average cost is the cost incurred to produce each unit of product or output, which is the total cost divided by the number of outputs processed. Meanwhile, marginal cost is the additional cost incurred to produce one additional unit of product. Okay, so marginal cost is basically different from one unit to other unit. Like from the additional unit from 1 to 2 might be different with 101 to 102 or 105 to 106. But for the average cost is usually the same for every kind of additional unit in what kind of position. So now we back again to the total cost function. Total cost function is divided into two kind of costs. First one is the fixed cost. Yeah, fixed cost is usually a constant value, and the second one is the variable cost. Variable cost is always vary with the product itself. So that's why the equation of a variable cost should be the cost of each product per unit times the product itself, phi times q, and the total cost is usually it will be the total cost will be fixed cost plus variable cost. Okay, so if we consider fixed cost as a constant, then write down here as a constant k. The variable cost is v times q. I will add a dot here so that you can see that this one is a multiplication operator here. Okay, v times q. Now then this is the average cost that I have mentioned before. So the average cost can be divided into average fixed cost, and it is symbolized by AFC, and AFC is equal with fixed cost over Q. Okay, and next one is the average variable cost. Average variable cost is a variable cost divided by Q. Yeah, variable cost divided by Q. So the average total cost is AC, or sometimes we say that as ATC, yeah, average total cost. So average total cost is all of the average fixed cost plus average variable cost, and this one is FC per Q plus V times Q per Q. Okay. And then last one is the marginal cost. Marginal cost is delta total cost over delta total Q. So this is AC n plus 1 minus Cn over Qn plus 1 minus Qn. Okay, it means that, for example, when you want to see what is the additional cost between when the product is in the position of Q5 and what's happened with the additional cost when the company will add to the sixth product. So we say that this is a total cost for the sixth product minus the total cost for the fifth product over the Q6 minus Q5. Okay, so this can of marginal cost will be different, with, say, C100 to C99, like this. Sorry, 100 minus Q99. Okay, but if we say about average cost, then the average cost will be the same between this additional position and this one. Now, using the nonlinear form of the cost function, generally takes the shape of a parabolic quadratic function and a cubic function, and the relationship between total cost and its components can be seen graphically as follows. So the total cost is a parabolic quadratic function, assuming that the total cost is aq quadrat minus bq plus c. Then the variable cost you see here. What is the variable cost in here? Yeah. Remember that fixed cost is always constant, no matter how many product that you will make, then the fixed cost is still stay constant. So this is the C is here the constant. So just think like that there is no Q beside the C, beside the value over here, the symbol over here. So it means that it's not vary along with the Q. So this is a fixed cost, and this one is, there is a Q beside the coefficient over here. So this one is the variable cost. So that's why variable cost is defined here as aq quadrat minus bq, and the fixed cost is the c. So then if the problem is asking about what is the average cost, then you just saying that average cost here is the what is that again? Total cost over q. Total cost over q. So we have here the total cost is aq quadrat minus bq plus c over q. Yeah, and you can separate each part of the fraction. Aq quadrat over q minus bq over q plus c over q. So this one can be erased. It's this now aq, and this one is b, the minus, plus c over q. Yeah, so this is the same with this one. Okay, now the same with what happened with the average variable cost. So you just take this one. Okay, average variable cost, it means the variable cost over q, that is aq quadrat minus bq over q. So that is the same with this. So you just separate the fraction, then you will have aq minus b. Okay, the same with this one. This is the average fixed cost. Average fixed cost is the fixed cost over q, and the fixed cost is a constant value, a c, we name it here. So then the average fixed cost is c over q. Now next slide is to have an exercise. Okay, so now it is the problem. The total cost incurred by a company is represented by the equation C 2q quadrat minus 24q plus 102. At what level of production is the total cost minimized? Calculate the minimum total cost. Also, calculate the fixed cost, variable cost, average fixed, and average variable cost at the level of production. And if production is increased by 1 unit from this position, what is the marginal cost? Okay, given that we have a function of total cost 2q quadrat minus 24q plus 102, and the question is, first of all, At what level production is the total cost minimized? What is the Q when the total cost is minimized? And what is the TC min? Okay. And calculate the fixed cost at this position. This position means when the Q is at total cost minimum. So by here, what is the at this position? What is the fixed cost, variable cost, average fixed cost, average variable cost, and margin cost from this position. Okay, so now let's go through the first question. Okay, total cost is this one, and then first we have to find Q at DC minimum. So again, this is a quadratic function. Remember from the previous week that we need to define here the ABC first. A here is 2, B is minus 24, C is 102. Okay, and I have mentioned about the goal from analyzing this kind of function is to draw. Yeah, so first of all, we need to define how is the curve going. Is it open up or open down? Second one is what is its maximum or minimum point or stationary point. Third one is to find the intersection with the x-axis. Fourth is the intersection with the y-axis. So now since this is a minimum, the question is for the minimum. So we go directly to the define first whether it really has a minimum point. So minimum point, it should be like this, right? It should be open up. Now, how to define when the curve is open up like this? This is when the A is positive. So remember, when A is positive, then you will smile. So as we can see here that the A is equal with 2, then it is positive or bigger than 0. So this function will have this kind of curve. So this kind of curve will have a minimum point. Okay, so it is correct that it has minimum point. So you have to check it first whether it is really will have a minimum or maximum. Okay, now, so from the steps to draw is there is a how to define the x minimum, the xm and ym, minimum or maximum. Xm is minus b over 2a. Ym is b quadrat minus 4ac over minus 4a. Okay, so this is the x is for the q. Okay, this is for the q, and this is for the y. So just define that q for tc min is minus b over 2a. So that is minus 24 over 2 times 2. It is minus 6. Okay, I know that this is not possible that q will be minus 6, but let it that way first. Okay, just leave it that way. Q is minus 6 period. Okay, right now B, what is the TC minimum? Now you can go directly to this kind of using that equation, b quadrat minus 4ac over minus 4a. Fill that in. The b quadrat is minus 24 quadrat minus 4 times 2 times 102 over minus 4 times 2. Okay, so that will give you, let me see, 24 minus, oops, so that will give a 30 monetary unit. Okay, or you can just go to this equation again. Just fill in the q, and you will have also the same value as this one. Q equal with minus 6. Substitute to TC function. Yeah, so TC function is 2q quadrat minus 24q plus 102. Fill in the q here with a minus 6, and you will have also 30. Okay, the same. Okay, next is the average fixed cost. Okay, then the average fixed cost first. So as we can see here, what is the fixed cost here? Fixed cost is the one without the independent variable, so it is 102. And the variable cost, it is the one with the q beside the coefficient. So 2q quadrat minus 24q. Okay, so the average fixed cost will be 102 over q. Yeah, this is a C, and D is average variable cost, 2q quadrat minus 24q over q. Break it down, yeah, 2q quadrat minus 24q over q. So that will give you 2. Okay, then I'll break it down first. So always like this, yeah. And if you understand already, then you don't have to separate like this way. Just go directly to q minus 24. And the average fixed cost is just the total cost is the average fixed cost plus average variable cost, and that is 102 over q minus 2q minus 24. Done. Okay, now last one is the marginal cost at this position. It means that wait a minute, what is the q again? The q over here is minus 6, yeah. So the additional one. Okay, well, since I have a correction on this, yeah, this should be plus 6. Because of what? Because I forgot that this is minus 24. Okay, so this will be a plus. Yeah, now for the next marginal cost is, it means that what's happened with the additional of costs when the q is increased to 1 point. So our starting point is when the q is 6. Now what's happened when this is goes to q7? Now at q6, you know that the TC is 30. Then you have to count what's happened with the q7 here. So what is TC when q is 7? 2 times 7 quadrat. I will add the 7 here. Minus 24 times 7 plus 102. So that will give you, wait, it is 144, yeah. Sorry, it is 32. 32. Okay. So the marginal cost at this moment is delta C, it means C7 minus TC6 over Q7 minus 6. So this one is 32 and this one is 30. It is 1. So the additional cost monetary unit. So you need to add a conclusion here is that when the production increase from 6 to 7, the additional cost will be 2. Okay? End of part 2.